Welcome to Hollywood Outsider, an award-winning weekly entertainment podcast. In this episode, we are reacting to the ceremony, the big moments, and the winners of the 97th Annual Academy Awards. This is our 2025 Oscar Reactions podcast. So let's get on with the show. My name's Aaron Peterson. Joining me today, my fellow hosts, Troy Heinrichs.
What's up, everybody?
Amanda Sink.
Hello, hello.
Wasn't sure about that for a second. I thought maybe you guys, because you didn't win an award, you dipped out, you know? You just said screw
Actually,
it.
I fell because I tripped on a dress.
Aw.
So many long dresses. Like, what's the point of the train?
I love the guy whose job is to carry it. Like, there's always a guy behind him carrying the dress, or a woman, a person. And I just want to know, like, did they go to college for that? Was that their dream when they were little? I just can't wait to carry Oscar dresses.
Those are called assistants.
Okay, you're giving them, like, real job titles. And I'm saying they're just picking the train up. They're trainers.
Oh, my Lord.
No. Stop. You're done.
It is what it is. It is what it is. I can't help it. Well, we're going to be honest about this thing. We're going to tell you what we really feel about this year's Oscars and recap the winners in case you didn't watch the ceremony, because a lot of people didn't, or love to proclaim that they didn't. I can't decide which one, but people love to tell me, I don't watch the Oscars. Well, you sure are interacting with my post about it a lot.
Your post specifically? Was it on your account, or was it?
Yeah, this feels like a very
post?
Personal interaction, a reference.
I feel like I'm unleashing a little bit, giving you a little personal.
Uh-huh.
No, but anytime you you comment on like, hey, I'm glad so-and-so won, there's a thread or there's something on Reddit or Facebook or X or social media of choice, and you do a comment like, I'm glad so-and-so won, or I wish somebody else would have won it, and then somebody has to chime in or reply or be like, well, I don't even know because I didn't even watch it. Well, aren't you special? Those people.
Well, apparently Aaron has a few in mind, so if you're one of them, you probably know.
Not by name. Well, wouldn't it be weird if they were then listening to this podcast? You don't watch it, but you comment on random threads and you listen to podcasts about the Oscars. It's just weird.
I just want to look like they
Maybe
actually
support you.
were involved in the process and the procedures of the entire evening. That's all.
That's true. Amanda has a good point. If you happen to be one of those people that are just supporting us, we thank you. We thank you. We do.
Yeah, shut the up, Aaron.
All right. So thank you, everybody, for supporting the show, by the way. Go to Patreon. Go to patreon.com/TheHollywoodOutsider, because our episode 600 will be uncut and unedited there, and it'll be 2 weeks before it releases in the normal feed. So you'll get it way early and uncut and a whole bunch of additional stuff that is I couldn't remember if I wanted to.
Including video or not video? Because the video is fun.
The video, I think it's going to be a Patreon exclusive too.
Oh, man.
Yep.
You can see how big I roll my eyes towards the end of the show.
I can't remember if we were still recording when I absolutely lost it, when Aaron was so drunk that he started to tip backwards and his arms were in the air.
Did I?
I was like, somebody catch him,
Did
please. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was the funniest shit. That whole afternoon, because I was not drinking, was a wild experience.
Oof. I had a long day. Long day.
Also,
You slept through half of it after.
if you want the early details on the Ho Cruise 2026, you could subscribe to Patreon and get that information 2 weeks before anybody else.
That's true. There you go. Boom.
Maybe, because I don't know how much of it is actually understandable because Aaron was so drunk.
I know
And
I
Brian.
had to edit about 5 minutes of that description. So for the regular feed. So it made any sense.
For the rest of you people, it should have gone like, we're going in July of 2026. Go to the website, thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Information will be there. Instead, it was a half an hour diatribe.
It was quite long. Let's
It
talk
was
about
a little
the
bit
Oscars.
of-
Hey, enough about this nonsense. Oscars, all right? It is Oscar season. That's what we're here to talk about, right? Not my flubs or Brian's alcoholism.
I was going to talk about yours and Brian's because you were equitably drunk.
I think he was worse.
I don't.
Okay. That's probably fair. That's fair. Do you guys watch the red carpet? This is my segue. Do you guys watch the red carpet for the Oscars at all?
Used to, Not anymore because it's hard to find it on a streaming platform.
Ditto.
Fair enough. Well, I
Only
did.
when I watched it at my parents who still paid for cable did
Cable.
I watch
Network,
the red
right?
carpet.
It was on E.
Yeah.
Used to be.
Yeah.
Used to be.
Yeah.
Well, I still watch it. So, it's nice when you see them arrive and they're
So you pay for cable.
beautiful
That's
dresses.
what you're telling
No,
us.
it's not on cable. It's streaming. I watched it
Oh,
on
this
streaming.
year, yeah, they had that on streaming too. I did watch like 10 minutes of it before the actual show started.
Selena Gomez
if
looked gorgeous.
I would have known, I would have watched it. She did. She looked beautiful.
She looked great. A lot of people like pick on her weight and stuff, like up and down, fluctuating. And I'm like, she's gorgeous. Don't just be
Gorgeous. And her boobies were beautiful. Like, good for her.
Okay.
I remember looking at her in that dress and being like, damn, I dare somebody to say something.
Well, they did because it's the internet.
I
They
don't
did.
care what they said, unless
did
it was
not.
positive.
Oh yeah,
About
Well,
Selena specifically?
yeah. It's before she was too heavy. Now she's too thin. I don't want to wade. I don't want to get too deep in these waters. But yeah, it's pretty sad. And Halle Berry was on the red carpet too. Looked fantastic. It's like she's
Out there
25.
making out with people.
Yeah. She went and paid Adrien Brody back. We'll get there. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But first, let's talk about the ceremony. Okay. So the opening medley, we were wondering like, how is this thing going to open? And keep in mind, Hollywood, LA, big LA theme in this montage here at the beginning. And then we have I believe it was Somewhere Over the Rainbow and then Home from The Wiz. So it's like Wizard of Oz, Wiz. And then we have the Defying Gravity from Wicked. So it's a very focus on the Wizard of Oz this year. And for the opening, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande crushed it, I would say. What do you guys think?
Not only did Ariana Grande crush Somewhere Over the slayed. It was so good for Somewhere Over
Do
the
the
Rainbow.
kids still say Slade, man? Is that
For sure.
okay?
For sure. Slapped. Whatever you want to use. I don't care. It
Okay.
was fucking fantastic. And what was even better about it was the production design of how it opened because she's standing off to the right and they got this like cast light on her with a little bit of the dry ice smoky underneath her dress. Her dress is gorgeous, by the way, in the ruby red for the ruby red slippers. But there was this sheen in the front of the stage that had a rainbow prism that was coming from top left to bottom right towards her. And it was just like the photography that people got of that shot on the internet. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. It is the most stunning photo you've seen in a long time.
And she had a shoe out of her back. That was an interesting addition. So I guess she couldn't get too far away without somebody yanking her back. Oh, you're off cue. Grab your mark.
I loved it. I thought it was a really great way to pay tribute to such an iconic film that did so much for not only its time, but the fact that it's proceeded through so many generations. And Ariana Grande really did do a beautiful job. Cynthia, I don't know, I guess I hadn't noticed that she was so into music. She has a beautiful voice, though. So I guess I was surprised, but only because I didn't know she was like very ingrained in singing.
I thought she was better than Ariana Grande. Don't get me wrong. They're both fantastic. But I think Cynthia just she crushed it.
She's like one of the top Broadway voices.
Yes. Amazing. Yeah. She's a Broadway star, Amanda. That's probably why you don't know.
Oh,
'cause
that's why I don't know.
she's huge. I think she already has Tony. Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
I believe so. Yeah.
Because she's on her way to an EGOT. So she's very
Oh,
talented.
so she would have just missed her EGOT this year?
No, I don't know if I
Or does
think
she
she's on her
need a
way. I
Grammy
think
too?
she's got a couple. I don't know
Okay.
off the top of my head, but
And for those that don't know what an EGOT is,
go for it.
it's an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. And it's EGOT.
Exactly.
EGOT a lot of stuff on their fireplace. That's what they got.
Oh my God, embarrassing.
Wow. It's just
First it was Slay, now it's this.
this has got to stop. Like seriously, we've got to stop. I think she is an Oscar away, so she's almost there. She already has an Emmy, a Grammy, and a Tony. So she's good.
Oh my gosh.
She's talented. She's been around for a while, but she's just now capturing.
I was going to say,
film.
she's definitely reached her peak in the last like 3 to 5 years.
Hey, she hasn't peaked yet. She's got more to go.
You know what? Like so far, like this has been the height of her career.
She's still going up. Still going up, man.
She is.
She's wonderful.
Don't take it so negatively. That's not what I mean.
Hey,
You know
I'm just
that.
saying. You know what? She did wonderful this year. She had a fantastic year, and I just wish people would stop asking her about her nails because it's just like an old question at this point.
It's just a look.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
What?
It's her personal. She gets asked.
It
this
really comes
all the
up that
time.
much?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. It's really stupid. Like people just get obsessed about, I don't know, what everyone else looks like, and it's just exhausting. But anyway, that was a very opening a beautiful opening. And just to remind everybody, before we get a little too deep here, because we got a couple other musical numbers didn't love as much, but before we get too deep, they said no original songs this year, right? They're not going to have the performances. Instead, they're going to do nods to Hollywood
Movies.
And have live performances, which means that the people whose songs were nominated, they get shortcutted in favor of these set pieces that we either loved, like this one, or did not, like stuff we're going to talk about shortly. And that's something to think about, because I think they say that they chose this not because of Amelia Perez, but I think this is because they were scared of that controversy, because two of the songs nominated were from Amelia Perez.
I think it was partly that, but it was also partly a tribute to Los Angeles and the fires, and that, the town is really what makes movies. And when you think movies in Hollywood, you think LA. So they wanted to just put the focus on LA more than they wanted to focus on the actual awards that they were there to nominate and win for, which is funny, being that that's what the show is about.
But okay. Well, two of the numbers were all about The Wizard of Oz. The one, Queen Latifah, I mean, that's a whiz, but still connected, right? Queen Latifah's eased down the road. But then you've got the other one's James Bond. Well, I guess let's just talk about this now. We're already here.
Yeah, I don't know why we're splitting it up, because the James Bond is the one that I'm irritated about. I loved the Wizard of Oz,
the whole
and
thing,
it made
Amanda,
sense.
Because the performances
Well, hold on.
for the original
Let me
song should have
finish.
been there.
I haven't
Sorry.
talked at all.
Okay.
I loved the Wizard of Oz connecting to Wicked and The Wiz and paying tribute to that entire community of icons and moving forward. Mm-hmm. But I feel like when it comes to the songs, sure, not every song needs to be performed live, but I feel it reinforces sometimes the impact of the song, because songs hit different when they're performed live than when they're pre-recorded. So that is a nice thing to be able to showcase, like, really great talent in music. And it is kind of a slap in the face. And I feel like the entire award show, I just kept feeling like, oh, they're really just shutting out Amelia Perez.
That's what I felt like the whole time.
I feel
like they're just trying to fill time to not have them perform. And I should say, okay, just to...
And not as like the only reason.
No.
But I feel like it was a contributing factor.
But let's get this out of the way, or at least address the Amelia in the room. So the movie had a record amount of nominations, 13 nominations. If you didn't know this, Amelia Perez was nominated for 13 awards. And then it got a little bit of a lot of backlash from the trans community, from Mexicans who said that this is not a faithful Mexican film. It doesn't take cultural truths into account. Same with the trans argument. And I would disagree with that. I think they made a fantasy. Everybody's entitled to feel how they want to feel about it, but we can also feel differently about it, and I do. And so because of that, and then the lead actress had a bad time, or not a bad time. She had an unfortunate string of very negative tweets that really caused some backlash. And I have thoughts on how people reacted to that too. But regardless, this was seen as a very controversial situation with this film and got a lot of ire directed at it. A lot of the vocal internet started coming after the movie, right? For various reasons. One, it's trans topic. It's always a hot button topic for some people. And then the other portion is the Hispanic portion of the culture. So there are different people that looked at it different ways. Many people felt differently about it. And it's a film from France that didn't take into account certain aspects of Mexican culture that some people felt like were necessary. So there you go.
Well, and
that's the
not only was the original song concept impacted by Amelia Perez, but also the Fab Five concept was supposed to come back for this Oscars. They had to scratch it because of the fact that there was such controversy around the lead actress from the movie. Emma Stone gets up there to do the lead actress category, which Hulu, of course, cut off, which we'll get to in a bit. But when Emma Stone gets up there, she can't even say anything about these ladies like all the other categories were, because of the controversy around the nomination for Amelia Perez, which is just, it's interesting how much this movie and everything that happened around it leading up for the PR for award season where it's nominated so much and yet falls flat on its face because the PR team should be fired across the board.
And I want to talk more about that when we get to the actual categories, because I have a lot of thoughts about that, but we'll wait until we get there. But so therefore, that's just giving you a little bit of backstory. Now, they also claim that the Fab Five thing wasn't changed because of that. They actually went a different way because of several factors. That's what the producers say. We can't verify it because nobody's going to be straight about that. Nobody's going to say, well, that movie's to blame. But it sure was convenient timing.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't like how they did it. I actually kind of really liked how they focused more on artists and the artisans. Like, they had stars from the movies for makeup design and stuff like that. That was a really cool concept. So I'm okay. They kind of did Fab Five, just not with actors. Right? And I'm okay with that because I do think it's a celebration of the arts, not just actors. So it's nice to showcase them as well.
But if you look at what they did for like when RDJ came out and Divine came out, like when you watch what they did and how they spoke about each person, and then you watch Emma Stone, granted they were over at that point on runtime, but when Emma came out, like hers was like very brief.
It was very short, yeah.
So it was like there's something that was done here specifically that just
weird.
felt weird.
I didn't get to watch that until today.
We'll get there, Amanda. We'll talk about the Hulu of it all. Hulu. So overall, I will say, I mean, Queen Latifah, I think, did a great number. It's just a matter
Killed
of...
it.
Yeah, she killed it. I thought she was great. James Bond, was it you, Troy, who said this is like watching a cruise ship perform James Bond's greatest hits? That's exactly how I felt.
Well,
yeah.
Live and Let Die was great, right?
Yeah, that was
like
Lisa. It was Lisa, Doja Cat, and
I did
Ray.
not like Lisa. Doja Cat did okay, but nobody can sing Adele but Adele.
Adele was Rhea. That was the last one.
The thing was,
Rhea,
it didn't need
whatever.
3 songs. Like it did not need one song would have been fine. It didn't need a full 3.
Was
Nobody
there
else
an anniversary year I missed or something?
No!
Why was it? What was it about this year?
It's actually an in memoriam for it because it went to Amazon and now it's going to get bastardized.
That's funny.
It's actually funny. Let's not talk about In Memoriam. They left out some pretty big hitters.
Well, and that's why Quincy Jones got the song because he passed away.
Guys,
in
we're
November.
all over the place. We got at least
It doesn't
This is
matter.
a
We don't gotta
discussion.
go-
Loosey goosey.
Fine.
Go
Do what
where
you
it
want.
goes.
Chaos. That's what it was. Chaos.
He's like, only talk about the things that are in this section of the format for right now. Don't say it.
Fine. Let's talk about Margaret Qualley. Why can't she stop biting her lip? What is with her lip?
Who?
Margaret Qualley. She was the female that opened up the James Bond number, but also the supporting actress from Substance and was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and everything else. Everything she does, she's biting her lip. Like that's her sexy move, I guess, is that she's always hungry and never has a snack.
She's always hungry.
I did not like
eating
the
her
James.
own blood.
I did not like the James Bond set
It
piece.
felt out of it. Honestly, like the whole tribute to movies thing. If I was, now that I've seen the whole show, if I was redoing the show as the producer, writer, whatever,
this would be
organizing the
interesting.
sequence of events,
Be 20 minutes shorter.
Monday morning quarterback, like all you had to do, like the opening, because Wicked was a big number, a big thing this year. You do Somewhere Over the Rainbow, you did the Wiz song, you did Defying Gravity. You go right into like LA is the home of movies and that whole sequence that Conan did there, and then with the firefighters, and then you go into the show and just forget about it and do the show like you would normally do the show. Like you take that first 10 minutes and just give the tribute to LA in that first 10 minutes of the show and move on. That's what I would have done. And then done the original songs. I
think it's tacky. I think it's terribly tacky to do. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people were fantastic. Queen Latifah, Arrivo, Grande, all of them. Those were great. And I'm glad some smaller artists got showcased a little bit in the James Bond number, whatever. But I think I would rather see, if you're going to have a performance, like, look, I'm fine if you don't want to have one at all and get this thing over 45 minutes earlier. I'm fine with that too. But to have musical numbers but not have them be the original song is just a slap in the face as far as I'm concerned.
Especially when you show the trailer for all 10 freaking best pictures when you come back from commercial. It's like, we don't need to see these things. We've already seen them.
It wasn't a timing issue. And not to mention, one of the best moments of any recent Oscars was I'm Just Ken last year, which was an original song. That was one of the best moments of the last 10 years of Oscars I've watched. That was the most fun, the most interesting. It was the most viral. Like, everybody loved that. And then you're going to kill it and tell me it's not because you're worried about a little controversy?
When it ends up winning the award anyway.
Which was, yeah, that's true. Which one? For best song. which I like that song. I don't care what anybody thinks. I like that song a lot.
Really good. It's not the best. Sing Sing should have won. But
That's what
agreed.
That was my pick, and I would have picked that too. But I do like that song.
We're gonna have to talk about our picks at some point. You got to squeeze me into the format.
We got to get some categories going first. But first, we got to mention Conan O'Brien, okay? Because Conan O'Brien was the host. Now, I will say, I love his opening where he's just crawling out of Demi Moore's body. I thought that was actually quite brilliant and funny. And overall,
it was funnier when he crawled back into her body.
Get his shoe. Get his shoe. I thought he was fantastic, actually. I liked him more than Jimmy Kimmel. I'll tell you that. He felt like he was walking that fine line, kind of like Nikki Glaser did at the Golden Globe, walking that fine line of picking on him a little bit. He had a couple digs here and there, but they weren't too harsh. You know, it wasn't like Ricky Gervais. And also, you know, celebrating movies and knowing when to throw a zinger in there and knowing when, like at the halftime mark where he's just, hey, this is the point where Kendrick Lamar comes out and calls Drake a pedophile, like stuff, just shit. That's
that
just funny.
Line was so good.
So good. He was a great host.
Or he acknowledges the international audience that's watching, and he's like, "Please hire me."
Your move, Estonia.
I did like him a lot. He brought so much energy and pizzazz.
He's a great host. Yeah, I want him to come back. I mean, I'm sure they're talking about it already. It's probably his call, but he did a great job.
The dude in Sandworm playing instruments, like that was a great bit the whole night.
That was a good bit.
He's playing the harp with his little tentacles.
So he did a little of his weirdness, but didn't go too far. Like he did just the right amount, which I
definitely had his moment of weirdness.
And he most importantly kept things light and fun and, you know, didn't get too political. There's a couple shots here and there, but overall, I think he did a very good job of.
I think the politicalness overall was like subtle.
Well, yeah, like Adam Sandler's wearing a blue hoodie and he kisses Timothy Chalamet, who's wearing a yellow, and I don't know, those flag colors look familiar. Yep. But that was my favorite bit of the whole show, by the way. Adam Sandler just scolding Conan for humiliating him.
Anytime you get the 90s, early 2000s screaming Adam Sandler, it's the best.
It's my favorite Sandler.
Oh, it's so good.
And it's great when you know what it was exactly about, was because Zelensky and the Oval Office.
I'm not convinced that's what it was for. I'm not convinced.
I'm not convinced.
So Adam Sandler doesn't really do satire like that. That's
everybody's wearing a suit or a tux or a dress, and he shows up in a sweatsuit, and he's like, and Conan's like, you couldn't wear a suit. You couldn't wear a suit. It's exactly what it was for.
This was Sandler's idea, number one. Conan said that. He said this was all Adam Sandler's idea. Sure. And he said he had it several days ago. He said that as soon as the Oscars was over. He said he had this, like, this was a week ago or something. So this was happening before Friday, like before the whole Zelensky thing. So maybe he put on the blue one because of that. I don't know. I don't think that setup was that. I think that's the typical, everybody dresses up and Adam Sandler always dresses like a bum, no matter where he goes. I think that was more to do, but people want to read into it, and that's fine. And maybe there's truth there. I don't know.
Blue and yellow was a pretty obvious statement.
It seemed that way, but I also think people wanted to see it that way.
Yeah.
What do you think, Amanda? You think it was intentional?
The point is that it was subtle. If you know and you want to apply it,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. I mean, it is Hollywood too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy he did the Chalamet. That was worth it.
Which was started by Glazer at the Globes.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was a nice little callback. Very good. So, favorite moments of the actual ceremony? I mean, the Sandler bit, which was great. If you haven't seen it, go watch that on YouTube. It's out there. It's a great bit. The firefighters, bringing out the LA firefighters, that was a nice nod to everything they did. I mean, I would have liked to see a few more firefighters. Felt like there was only, the top brass who probably barely picked up a hose.
They sent directives.
Yeah, exactly.
The first firefighter that read the joke about Joker 2.
Yeah.
I was rolling on the floor laughing.
That was a good one.
That was a great zinger.
Good delivery.
For everyone who lost their homes, including the producers of Joker Folie 2.
I don't mean from
the
fun.
So good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was a good bit. It was a nice acknowledgement, too.
Bill Skarsgård as June Squibb.
That was funny. Very funny. June Squibb.
She was on point. It was so great.
How about Harry and Sally being up
maybe
there?
we don't talk about this.
Oh, did that bother you?
No, I loved it. And I loved his line where it's like, he tied it back to one of the quotes from the movie. Mm-hmm. But I was taken aback by, I guess, maybe some of the question mark work Meg has had.
Oh,
I didn't recognize her at first.
We're not doing that. I don't want to pick on people.
No, Meg looked okay compared to Goldie Hawn.
I don't want to. Let's stop. No, we're not picking on people. I'm not doing it. You know what? There's no reason. I don't want to be one of those podcasts where you're sitting there like, look who had work done. I don't care. I don't care.
Conan didn't. He told everybody.
That's true. I love speaking of Goldie Hawn, loved the bit with Andrew Garfield and her, and because he lost his mother just recently. So I don't know if that was part of the plan or if she was surprised by that or taken aback, but it was sweet either way.
She looked surprised. So I think he.
If you don't know, he told her
up.
How important she was to his mother. So it was very sweet.
But at the same time, like that, to me, some of that stuff also should be done like backstage or offstage. It's not part of the show.
So should most of the speeches, man.
It was awkward because then Goldie couldn't read the freaking teleprompter in the back. She's like, could you read it for me?
That part was kind of awkward. I mean, why would you send somebody, like, you'd think this would come up in rehearsal at some point? Hey, I can't see that. Maybe she was a little too misty-eyed. I don't know, but it was an interesting dilemma.
I loved that moment though, and she seemed to embrace it equally, and I thought it was pretty touching. Especially like if there was a video that I had watched on him talking about the loss of his mom and how impactful that was to him because of how big of a presence she was in his life and to everyone. So, it kind of broke my heart a little bit. I was like, that's really sweet.
Super sweet. Yeah. Mine too, if I had one, but it's dark in there. My favorite thing, I think, from the whole show was what I originally thought was an ad. And then I realized, nope, this is just genius. And that is Cinema Streams. That is...
Oh my God, that was so funny.
For anyone that hasn't seen it, it's a trailer that played where Conan O'Brien is trying to convince mostly younger people or people that are watching everything on their phones to come to this big phone in a box where you can go watch a movie with a bunch of phones glued together or whatever across the giant screen. It's just going to a movie theater. Like, what holds it? The building holds it. I mean, it was just like it was a great bit just trying to sell movie theaters. And I thought that was awesome. So clever.
What was the other one that I really, the first black male one for costume?
Well, those are the categories, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's saying that was a cool moment.
I thought it was a cool moment.
Okay. It was a very cool moment. There's always a few cool firsts in the. I guess I'm the only one that really got super excited for Cinema Streams. Fine. Let's talk about Hulu.
I laughed. I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny.
I was disappointed that Flavor Flav didn't come for the opening melody, the wasting your time, because everybody was wearing the clocks around their necks. I was like, this is a perfect Flavor Flav moment, and Flavor Flav's not there.
Is Flavor Flav still alive?
I don't know.
He's somewhere.
Do you think he's just in a retirement home with a giant clock on the wall?
I hope so. That sounds fun.
I hope so too. All right, so let's talk about Hulu. So if you didn't know, the Oscars telecast was live this year on Hulu. You didn't have to have Hulu live. You were supposed to be able to watch it live on Hulu, which you guys could. But
That's not confusing for the audience at all.
It was a live stream.
This was the first time the
regular
Oscars have been streamed on a streaming service. Hulu was the choice because Hulu is part of ABC, where it was aired live on network television.
I think I just said all that, but whatever.
Well, the
there's
account
Hulu Live.
There's
That's why it's
Hulu
weird.
Live is like one of the plans.
Not Hulu Live. It's live on Hulu.
Fair. He did clarify that.
Stream.
You're killing me, Smalls. All right, so whatever. You watched it on Hulu. All right, and then you get to the end, and right when Best Actress is about to come out, and you're going to hear a whole bunch of nothing about anybody from Emma Stone. It went out apparently for a big portion of people. My favorite people are like, "Well, it didn't go out for me." Oh, well, then I guess nobody.
Oh no, it was
wrong.
gone. The yeah. Hulu was set up to run for 3 hours, 4 hours and 30 minutes, 3 hours and 30 minutes.
So it cut out.
And it cut out.
It stopped.
It stopped. It was done because the network is supposed to go to American Idol at 9:30, 10:30 Eastern. Can't do the math. 7:30 Pacific, and it just stopped.
You couldn't even access it again. Like
Right.
now, if you go back to Hulu, you can rewatch it and it like pops up there. When it went dead, it went dead. It was like anonymous hacked in and said, nobody gets to watch the rest of this.
So you couldn't watch the end.
Yeah.
Not unless you had ABC or Hulu Live or YouTube TV or something else that actually had the cable version of the broadcast.
So were you guys furious at that
Sad
point?
times.
Or were you elated that you get to go to bed early?
Well, thankfully, I still had my Sling TV subscription, so I did get to see the ending. I was like, seriously? Come on. Like, it is 2025. We have been streaming since 2008. Get this shit right. Like, this is ridiculous.
Well, so I was cooking during some of the show, and I had both of my TVs on, one that's like in the downstairs area I can see from the kitchen and one that's in the living room. And I had them synced up. It was a beautiful world. Fast forward, I go to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And now the TV I'm sitting in front of starts like disconnecting from the account where I need to like re-log in. I'm like, I'm literally in the middle of watching this. So I tried logging in. Code would expire literally 2 seconds after it came on the screen.
It's a lot of literallys.
It is.
It was,
and it kept
all kinds of
happening.
fucked up.
And it kept happening. And then that finished. And then 10 minutes left of the telecast. And we get cut. What are we doing here? What Hulu/Disney are we doing here?
Was that you spanking Hulu? Is that what you...
No, that was me putting my fist into my hand, but it does sound inappropriate now that you
It
mention
just
that.
sounds a little naughty. Like, oh, Hulu. You bad girl.
Come on,
You
Disney.
bad girl.
We were
Hulu.
missing a slap this year. We needed someone to throw.
Now listen here, mistress.
Oh, good callback.
But yeah, like who's manning the command center? You know, like in the olden days when we had
No one.
broadcast
I don't
TV,
think anyone was.
There's
I
somebody
don't
that was there
think
like
so.
throwing a switch and doing the dump and the delay and making sure people didn't see certain things and cutting out all the cuss words. Like there's no one at Hulu going like, oh shit, guys, we need the stream to go back up. Push the button. There's nobody there working on a Sunday night.
I'm really
Nobody.
sorry. That's a huge bummer for, especially if you're into it. You know, if you're having a good time and you're like, oh, and then you're at the final awards, like the big ones, and then they just tell you, no, nothing for you.
Well, it's not even so much that. It's the PR the next day. It's Oscar stream for the first time. Misses last 15 minutes.
And you're just like hearing it with a middle finger up. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Yeah. Especially if you're a media company that is not Disney, you're jumping all over that shit.
I would be. Yeah.
Come to Paramount. You can watch CBS without getting cut off.
John Oliver worked just fine. That's what Max would be saying. Well, you guys ready to talk about the award winners?
Netflix should be jumping all over that because Netflix was the most nominated.
Netflix was terrible. All right. They don't get to jump all over anybody. All right. Not after that stupid Jake Paul fight with Mike Tyson. That was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Okay, but the games were fine.
I don't care. That doesn't take away from the Tyson Paul fight.
You can't. It's one time. It was their release.
Amanda, it was the whole fight. The whole reason that people were over my house
It's
to watch
a
the stupid thing.
release.
No, we're not doing this. No, you're not taking away my angst. You're not living my truth. You're not denying it. All right. It's my truth, not yours.
I'm absolutely denying
That's
it.
why there should be like all kinds of like battle of streaming services. Like Netflix, like we were the most nominated Oscars. You should have watched the stream here because we won't cut out on you. And then Amazon should be doing but we actually carry Thursday Night Football. So therefore you should come to us because we didn't drop Hulu or Netflix like you guys did with Tyson and the Oscars. Like I just want this ad campaign war to go on now. I think it would be fun. It's just me? Okay.
Yep, it sure was. All right, so let's start with cinematography.
He's literally just been waiting to go to the next
I'm
part
just
in the
waiting
format.
for you to shut the fuck up so we can go on. All right, cinematography.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about cinema streams again. That's okay.
I swear to God. There's an eject button. There is. All right, so the nominees were The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. And the winner was The Brutalist, Lowell Crowley. I don't really have any issue with this. Nothing really of note. It was a very nice speech that he gave. And I do think it's shot well. It's just The Brutalist is 3.5 hours long.
It's just not edited well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, it's way too long. Way too long. And I don't love the movie. It's fine, but it's way too long. So, no, any qualms or problems with cinematography?
Yeah, I mean, Nosferatu is a completely different look and feel to it.
I
So
would
it
agree.
stands out from the crowd. So to me, I think that should have won. I don't think anything was really
Agree.
spectacular about The Brutalist.
Dune Part 2 or Nosferatu, I think were probably honestly better. But I also am not mad at it. It's not one where I'm like, somebody got snubbed or whatever. I mean, these are your peers and that's who they chose. So so be it. I do like that as we go through the awards, there were up until a certain point, the love was getting spread pretty thick. I mean, it was like 1 for this movie, 1 for that movie, 2 for this, and then it became an avalanche.
Oh shit, my ballot is busted.
Yeah, exactly. I knew this was going to happen and I didn't trust my gut. Okay, so visual effects, Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. And I should point out, the Apes movies have never won a visual effects Oscar, and that astounds me. Astounds me. And it didn't win this time either. Dune Part 2 won. I don't really have a problem with that one.
No, those are my two. That was a 50-50 choice, and I just wanted the Apes to finally win, so I picked the Apes.
It chose poorly?
I chose poorly.
I love Dune Part 2 for visual effects. I think it definitely deserves it, but likewise, I think Planet of the Apes, it would have been great to... It's not like it would be just giving the award to give it, but also it's been several films of incredibly successful visual effects that set an entirely new precedent. So they deserve it at some point.
You would think. But no, we're giving it to sandworms. I mean, those are pretty easy. I've seen buckets sell that look just like one. All right.
And they play instruments.
They do. Sound, speaking of. A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and the Wild Robot. And it went to Dune Part 2. And this was, sound is now folded, right?
Right.
From
Sound mixing categories. And sound design are now sound.
So there you go. Dune Part 2, sound. I don't have a problem with that. It's kind of funny when A Complete Unknown doesn't win, and that's all about sound. But
yeah.
Same with Wicked. But good for them. I mean, you take them where you can get them. These feel like the pity awards at this point. We're not going to give you your best picture, but we'll give you the sound and visual effects.
I got that one.
Okay, we're not doing the contest yet. Wait until
you gotta wait till the end.
Don't be that
Why
guy.
not?
Don't give it away.
Yeah, hold tight. Production design: The Brutalists, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. And Wicked won. And this one I would have probably been irritated if Wicked didn't win.
Agreed.
I know. All those flowers that were planted by hand.
Well, that's just ridiculous. But yeah, same idea, right? It is ridiculous.
That was a cool bit too with Ben Stiller.
Yes, talk about it. What did he do?
Yeah, so when he came out to present the award for production design, he actually came up from below the stage and then on a lift to come up to the top, and it stopped short. So he was like cut at the waist, and then the lift kept going up and down and moving around because it's showing what a good production designer should do in order to make things like that not happen. So I thought that was, and I was surprised he actually climbed up at the end. I thought it would come up enough that he could at least do like a jump.
I loved it.
An easy step up, but he had to actually climb up there.
It was a good bit. It was a really good bit.
It was fun.
Well, we all agree Wicked should win that. Should have won that one. No problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Original song, El Mal from Emilia Perez. The Journey from the 688, which I have not seen, but my mother tells me I have to watch that movie. By the way, it's on Netflix. I have not watched it, but my mother said I have to. And it's also Diane Warren, who has been nominated, I believe, 16 times and still hasn't won. So
Crazy. Calm
down, Demi Moore. All right. There's people with a lot worse problems. Then we've got The Journey. I said that, Like a Bird from Sing Sing. Mi Camino from Emilia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. And the winner was El Mal, which is my favorite movie or song from that movie. I like that song a lot. It's the one Zoe Saldana is rapping to, basically, about the evil men in that room. And I really dig that song and that set piece. So I would have preferred Like a Bird, though.
Same.
Sing Sing, very underrated. Go watch it. Go watch it. All right, we're moving right along. Original score: The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and the Wild Robot, and Daniel Blumberg won for The Brutalist. It's a haunting score. I will say he gave the most awkward speech you could tell. This is not a person who likes attention.
No.
I don't mean that in a negative way. Just obviously,
I have to say something so I can get off the stage as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Which is fine. All speeches should be that short.
Agreed.
I don't have much to say about that one.
Okay.
About score? Score makes the movie.
It does. But Brutalist had a good score to it.
Not the best one, but okay.
Well, then debate. Share your thoughts.
Everybody knows the songs of Wicked, and the way that they actually weaved in the songs of Wicked throughout the rest of the movie I thought was actually really well done, because I didn't know how they were going to stretch it into 2 hours and 40 minutes when the play isn't even 2 hours and 40 minutes. So the fact that they had to background track all of that time with extra music, I thought that was really interesting.
But don't you have like a wicked blind spot? Don't you think? Maybe.
No, it was really.
You don't think
it's a bias.
a little bit, just a little bit.
That movie was like, the editing was great. I mean,
I'm not taking away from the movie.
everything about it was really good. I mean, it was really, really well done. Really well done.
I will tell you, Conclave. I don't know if you. I can't remember if you.
Conclave is fantastic.
The score was pretty phenomenal there too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I would not have given it to Brutalist in this category. Three other ones are definitely deserved. Wild Robot's score is great too, just with the background music they have for like bring the forest to life, and what do the butterflies sound like, and what do the wolves sound like, and the grass sounds like. Yeah.
All right. Well, makeup and hairstyling. We have a different man, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. I'm very happy The Substance won this one.
Me too.
Practical effects, baby. All the way.
And it was
all the way.
So outrageous when you get to the end of the movie.
Well, that part was
to
ridiculous.
think about the practical effects.
But yeah, so nuts.
The practical effects are outrageous, and the end of the movie is outrageous.
Yes, very much so.
Yep.
Very much so. But it looks great. I mean, it's
great.
Good effects. It's just, I don't like how it ends. All right. Costume design, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked, which was the winner, Paul Tazewell, who was the first black man to win, as we talked about earlier. Tazewell. Tomato. It just means
Congratulations to this fella.
we kept seeing his name over and over. Congrats. But I will say, Paul, you got an E there. All right. So that should be Tazewell. I'm sorry if your mom and dad didn't tell you how to pronounce that correctly, but I'm pretty sure with that E, it's Tazewell. You might want to start saying it different.
I think you're wrong.
I mean, he would probably agree because it's his name, but
yeah.
I'm just saying there's an E. It's just hanging there, right? Like Tazewell. That's
you can
Tazewell.
keep trying to dig yourself out of the hole of mispronouncing his name on the onset, but we'll still be here, and this is still recorded.
I can edit it, so I said it perfect, and you messed it up.
No!
International feature film, Upset. This is where I call Upset. Now, I believe, personally, before all the hoopla about Carla's tweets and his Mexican people being some small portion being upset about the lack of Mexican culture in this fantasy film from a French filmmaker, et cetera, I believe that Emilia Perez would have won this category, but no proof now. The nominees are I'm Still Here from Brazil, The Girl with a Needle from Denmark, Emilia Perez from France, The Seed of the Sacred Fig from Germany, and Flo from Latvia. I'm Still Here, by the way, great film. Have no problem with it being a winner at all. I think more people should probably try to find it. I'm just kind of surprised. I can't be the only one that's surprised. Like, I thought this was Emilia Perez's, especially 13 nominations. It was theirs to lose.
Leading up to, 13 nominations. Leading up to the awards, I guess, time, there was a lot of talk around Emilia Perez in a good way, with everybody proclaiming how great it was. So there was a lot of heat on that trail coming up to the season until all of the controversy and drama started. So I think it is still surprising to the majority because for so long, if you follow that information, it seemed like it was going to go in that direction.
Yeah, but I think this was the problem with, like, as we're talking about, where Emilia was on a good track and then everything came out and it started doing that PR nosedive. And because of that, by the time we go to vote, the vote shifted.
I haven't seen, I mean, it's hard to dance around what I think, but I think it's pretty terrible how people have treated the film. I think it's pretty terrible. If you don't like it because of how it handles the topic, then you don't like it. If you wish they would have done something else, then wish they did something else. I don't think the film was ever trying to be a grounded Mexican story. It was not trying to be anything grounded to represent fully the trans experience. It was telling a very specific story about 4 women and their lives. Yeah, and especially like what that means about their own identity and certain things. Like, it's a very fantastical. It's a musical. It's all over the map. I think it got an unfair rap. Her tweets, yes, some of them were bad. Some of them were just snark. I'm not going to sit here and judge her. I don't really know enough about her to judge her, because I'm not judging someone on tweeting. I'm just not going to do it, because I think people go out and say a lot of stupid things online, and I'm not going to say that that is who they are. Not that that makes it good or bad. I'm not saying she should be forgiven or anything else. All I'm saying is the movie is just a movie. And as a work of art, I think it stands on its own. And I'm tired of I'm not going to justify liking a movie. I thought it did a very good job of the story it was trying to tell. I thought it did a very good job. And I liked how Zoe Saldana handled it afterward when she won her award day. Someone asked her how she feels about people that were upset about it. And she said, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I don't feel like we were telling a story about what you seem to think the movie was. And she was, because a lot of people were saying, well, she apologized for the movie. No, she did not. Go listen to it. She was saying this, if you'd love to have a conversation about what we could have done better, I'm all for it. But this story was about this, not what you're telling me it is. I saw it a different way. That was just your opinion. And that was the right way to say it, because all of that is an opinion. And it's okay to have an opinion that's different than mine. You feel differently. But the shout, you're wrong and you're a monster if you like it is terrible. And that was happening a lot with that film. And don't tell me it wasn't, because I saw it all the time when I was online and trying to have actual civil discourse, and people were shout. You're this, you're that if you like that movie. And it just infuriated me. I think the movie got an unfair and undue rap. I'm done.
Well, Aaron has thanked you all for coming to his TED Talk. We appreciate you coming in today. You can find more of this at thehollywoodoutsiders.com.
Don't worry. We have more TED Talks coming, because Amanda will talk about Honora ad nauseum in just a bit.
Maybe. And I'm going to talk about Adrien Brody.
My tirade's about a documentary slot, okay?
Oof.
Oh, that one too. Yeah. Amanda's got 2 TED Talks then.
I have a lot of feelings on this, actually.
Well, I have an interesting feeling. Do you know Sean Baker, who we will go on and tell you about some awards that he has? Let's just wrap him up into
everything?
One. Let's just wrap him up into one. Okay, so he won Best Editing for film for Honora, and then he also won original screenplay, and then he also won director. So
good for him.
Plus he gets one as producer. So I just want to point out that Sean Baker won more Oscars in one night than Quentin Tarantino has in his entire career, and also has one more Best Director than Quentin Tarantino has in his entire career.
Damn!
For a movie that, if you didn't have one actress in it, would have been a shitty movie.
She is the movie.
Damn! Yeah. Why would you put this out there?
Tarantino's my favorite living director.
Crazy. I know he's one of the best directors of all time.
And to add insult to injury, the man was actually there at the Oscars.
I was just thinking about that too. I was like, the whole time he's standing up there and he's like, fuck this.
He gave him the award.
He gave him the award.
But I will say Sean Baker did say very nice things to Quentin Tarantino before he spoke. He seems like a very wonderful, talented guy. I have nothing negative to say around Sean Baker. Good for him. I'm happy for him. That's awesome. And it wouldn't have been my choice. I would have found a way to give the award to Tarantino. Honestly, if I was Sean Baker, I would have just turned around and handed him my Oscar and said, I already got enough of these things. You deserve one for Best Director.
I would just ask him for a hug.
That'd be a weird way to take it.
Or, hey, how about you take this time real quick and give your thank yous for the Oscar you've deserved for several decades.
I like this.
How about that?
Very good.
And then Quentin Tarantino just comes up there and he's like, fuck.
Yeah. Like, you assholes, you should have gave it to me. I'm the best.
Who do you think?
Tell you about
mine. Who do you think should have won film editing then?
I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care.
You're the one that always has the opinion. I mean, between you and me, with the 20 minutes too long, and you're like, this one shouldn't be edited because it was too long.
This is a category I don't care because I think everybody was deserving it. Well, except the Brutalist. I don't think if you have a 3.5 hour movie and I'm bored, you are a bad editor. Honora, I think, moves at a good clip. So does Conclave, Emilia Perez, same there, and Wicked. So they all, I think, are edited extremely well. If I have to pick one, it's probably Wicked. But just because I think it's
why? Because you have Wicked goggles? Jeez.
I don't really. Really? You think I've got Wicked goggles? Which one do you think should win, Troy? I bet it's Honora.
No, I had Wicked for this one because of the way they transitioned between the musical songs into the dialogue and back and forth. I thought that was done really well.
There you go. Hey, doesn't matter. Sean Baker won. All right, I'm going to do this pretty quick. The winners for shorts, I know we haven't seen many of these, but animated short film, In the Shadow of Cypress won. Documentary short film, The Only Girl in the Orchestra won. And live action short film, I'm Not a Robot won. It's just, choice documentary. So, or autobiography. So what do you, any of those have anything to...
Yeah, I was kind of bummed that live action short was I'm Not a Robot because I didn't pick that one on my list.
I'm stunned. You did
I
not.
know. That's because I didn't see that one.
All right. Well, original screenplay.
I thought they were good.
We already talked about that. Sean Baker won. But the other nominees were The Brutalist, A Real Pain. That's who I was pulling for. September 5th, and The Substance. Man, I actually picked one before the show started, and I changed it before the show started, and neither one of them won. So I kind of lost twice, if you really think about it. I was wrong twice. Yeah.
I did watch A Real Pain about a couple hours before the ceremony, and I have to say that was really good.
Wasn't it great?
Except for the the gas chamber thing was a little much. Not gonna lie.
Well, I think that was the point.
Yeah.
It was kind of supposed to be a little much.
I haven't seen it yet, but I do want to.
Beautiful. The last scene with Kieran Culkin tells you everything about the character. It's a beautiful...
Yep.
Same with Honora. Like, the last 5 minutes really, in that movie, also tells you everything you need to know about the character.
Well, the great thing about that is it opens that way and ends that way.
Sure.
And in A Real Pain,
Yeah.
opens with the same shot and closes with the same shot.
But it's a different emotion if you
But a different
watch
emotion.
his face. Yeah. Adapted screenplay. So the nominees were A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. So the winner was Conclave, which is kind of surprising because I think this is the only award they got. Yeah, this is the only
Correct.
one.
Like you said, it was a very share the wealth ceremony up to a certain point.
It was. And Conclave is a very good film. Like it's interesting. I don't care anything about the Catholic Church. I love what was Conan's joke? It's about the Catholic Church. But don't worry. That was a good joke. It took a minute.
And then he was like, and we could say Ralph all evening. Ralph. Hey, Ralph. That was pretty funny too.
Conclave is a very good film, but it's really about like re-anointing a new pope and trying to choose who that should be. And then there's a cool twist as you go on that kind of sends things on a different path. But
because it doesn't happen very often and nobody sees inside the door. So to get a movie that kind of surmises what might go inside the doors is interesting. Yeah, it's all about money,
struggle,
power, and control.
The Lord's control.
And lots of red.
Amanda, just take the category. Documentary, feature film.
All right.
Well, that wasn't necessary. Who are you, Adrien Brody? You're spitting your gum on people or what?
Yeah, will you catch it for me?
Ugh, so gross.
Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Documentary feature film. Nominees include Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat. I forgot.
Coup d'etat.
I don't remember. I failed French.
Coup d'etat. Yeah.
Coup d'etat. And Sugarcane.
D'etat.
And do you know who won in this category?
The one I picked.
Not the one who should have, in Amanda's opinion. Now, I gotta say, No Other Land does have, I haven't watched it. It has a really great synopsis. I can see why, especially with the timing, it is about, a Palestinian family and survival. I get it. I get why something, especially with that content, if it's done really well, would have taken the voters by storm. But I myself am quite partial to Black Box Diaries. I caught that one at South by Southwest and feel it is one of the most incredibly brave and powerful sexual assault documentaries that I could even imagine seeing. Mm-hmm. Not only does this woman, who is a journalist in Japan, completely break the existing policies and perspectives and everything within Japan related to sexual assault on women, she also took on a really big name, Yamaguchi, if you're familiar with that, which you should be. And not only that, but when everybody else around her failed to properly investigate and do something about it, she, as a journalist, took it upon herself to investigate and document her own victimization that occurred, including video footage of her being drugged and kidnapped. Drug around.
It's just terrible.
Really, really horrible story in terms of what it is, but you get to see a really, really powerful survival story on the other side of it from her perspective. And I just have so much respect for Shino and everything that she did. And while I'm very disappointed that Black Box Diaries did not win the Academy Award, the fact that it was nominated is still really incredible. So highly encourage you to check it out. It is streaming, though I can't remember which platform anymore.
I think Amanda talked about that category as long as Adrien Brody's speech was.
No, he still beat me.
That's okay. That's okay. And it beat No Other Land, which is, I think it's a hot button topic, right? It's a Palestinian film about the alliance that develops between soldiers and activists, Israeli soldiers and Palestinian activists. So I get it. Hot button topic. I haven't seen it, but I have seen Black Box Diaries, and it's horrible and really well done. Horrible in the right ways. Like it's impactful. It's too bad.
That's my tirade. Now it's off to Troy's.
I want to say good speech, though. They had a really good.
Yes, it was a really great speech.
The only time where it really got political, and it fit. So
it fit. It was perfect.
Troy, you should do this one. Yeah,
I should do this one for animated feature film because Aaron hates animation, and
not this year. This year, big fan this year, actually.
Big fan this year.
Yeah,
but with Inside Out 2, one of the biggest blockbusters and money takers of the year, along with Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, Memoir of a Snail, and Wild Robot, which had the most fantastic CGI cartoon animation work done because it was just gorgeous. Like the entire movie. Super cute, super gorgeous, super great.
I think I was pretty clear. We're not talking about people getting work done. All right? We're not doing it.
Even robots need to be pretty, okay? Just saying.
Okay.
But the one that won is Flow, which I literally I hooped and hollered in my house, and my wife was like, "What the hell's going on?" Did you really? Up there? I did. I was like, "Yeah, motherfucker, that's awesome! Woo! Black Cats for the win." Aaron's gonna be pissed because the Black
I cheered
Cat.
for you.
I was happy.
I haven't
for
even
you.
seen the movie yet, and I cheered for you.
It's on HBO or it's on Max.
It's on Max.
What used to be HBO Max. It's on Max, so I highly recommend watching it. It's so good, so good.
I will tell you, I have watched it twice.
You watched it twice?
Yep.
Yes, because it's good.
It's excellent. Yeah.
It makes you think. It makes you go, wow, that music's really cool. And it goes, wow, that's really funny. Oh, and the bird scene. I mean, it's not Black Box Diaries, but it's close.
Yep. So good winner. Very good winner.
Yeah.
And happy for Latvia. And, step it up, Estonia. Step it up.
So funny.
I didn't realize they were next door to each other. And apparently Estonia already answered back on Twitter, like they congratulated them on X or whatever, and then said, "Yep, we do have to step it up, Conan." So that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's so funny.
That is pretty cool.
Definitely check it out. If you're beating DreamWorks and Pixar, you must be doing something right.
Absolutely. Best Director, we already talked about it. Sean Baker won, but the other nominees were Brady Corbett for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, which went with the big fat goose egg. Jacques Adur for Amelia Perez, and Coralie Fargit for The Substance. I don't know if I said those names right, but I said them cool, and that's all that matters. So an actress in a supporting role. This one is no surprise. I think this was the easiest one to pick. But Monica Barbero for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, but the winner was Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. Now, Troy, you picked Ariana Grande, and I think I would have completely understood if she did win.
Yeah, the only reason I went Ariana is because of the fact of all the controversy around Amelia.
That's fair. Yeah,
so I thought there was a good chance that Zoe won the Globe, so therefore she got her award kind of thing, and it would have shifted because that's happened before. It doesn't mean that the Oscars doesn't always follow the Globe. So, but I think Zoe is completely deserving of the win. I was really happy for her best speech of the night.
It was a beautiful speech. And, I always like when you see the nominees all seem very, very genuinely happy for the winner. Because that kind of means, it's not like 2 out of 2 or 3 of them are like, yay, and the other one's like, oh, this dickhead, screw him. It wasn't like that. It seemed like everybody was very happy for her. So
Yeah, I really did love her speech.
She was very, very sweet. Actor in a supporting role, Yura Borisov for Honora, who's very good in that movie. Kieran Culkin for Real Pain. Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. And Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. And we learned that he used to, I guess, sleep outside the Oscars on the bleachers or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. That was what Robert Downey Jr. said. The winner was Kieran Culkin. And I think, again, no real surprise, but I'm happy for him. He gave a great speech where he put his wife on the spot and said, now you got to give me some kids. That was something.
Oh, it's a funny, for those that didn't know, at the Emmys, he told his wife that they wanted a third kid. And she said, if he wins an Emmy, then you get a third. And then he said, well, if you win an Oscar, then you get a fourth. And so because he won the Oscar, he basically called his wife on the bet.
But it also shows his wife has zero faith in him, by the way. She just does not believe in him.
It did.
Oh, well, very happy for him. And I think that was, I don't even think anybody moved out of their chair when they were picking the winner because they already knew. Kieran Culkin, Macaulay Culkin, they asked him what he thought because he went to the after party. And did you think your brother was going to win? He said, well, I'm not going to lie. He was front row right next to the stairs. Yeah, I thought it was a sure thing.
Oh.
There you go.
Make it easy. So we don't have to jump over the crowd.
Something. All right.
His was probably my favorite speech.
His? Kieran Culkin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was heartfelt. It was genuine. He actually felt like he gave the speech like his character would have given the speech in the movie, is what it felt like.
Well, I think he's that
or maybe
character.
It was recency bias because I just watched the movie.
It's probably a little recency bias, but he is that. He does have, I did like that Robert Downey Jr. made a mention that you're kind of working off my energy at the award circuit, and he totally is. He's making speeches much like Robert Downey Jr. does, just off the cuff and kind of a little weird and quirky, but fun.
He's really good in that movie, though. Good.
I'm glad you finally saw it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. So actress in a leading role. Ooh, big surprise. Little shift in things. So just so you know, Demi's been...
Not that I got to watch it live.
Fuck you, Hulu. But this has been... Demi has won, I think, all the major awards, including SAG, which is a big precursor for this, except for the Independent Spirit Awards and BAFTA, which are the British Oscars. Those Mikey Madison won. So it's been between these two the whole time. This whole time it's been between these two. So the nominees were Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Garcon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. Before we go to the winner, I do want to say, I thought, okay, here's what I think. I'm going to tell you my true feelings. For an industry that loves to tout how inclusive they are, how full of love they are, and how they want to spread love and treat everybody fairly and everything else, I thought they treated Carla Sofia Gasson like shit, like absolute shit. I understand.
Absolutely.
I think 100%. She had some bad tweets, and she panicked and had, did some bad press of her own because she didn't know how to stop the damage control, and she's freaking out. And then Netflix kind of cut her off the whole gravy train to go to the award circuit. So she hasn't been going to awards she's been nominated for. Comes to the Oscars, and sure, Conan had, made a joke about tweets and stuff. And I get it. That's fair game, right? That's, if you show up, fine. But they've been basically casting her to the back the whole time. This is the first transgender woman to be nominated for Best Actress for an Oscar. And this is how they've elected to handle it. So I just want to say, don't lecture me again. Don't ever lecture me again. I am a good person. I will follow with good intentions and good morals. I do not need Hollywood to preach to me because you sons of bitches are hypocrites left and right. You hid under the steps of Harvey Weinstein and everybody else over the course of so many decades. And then you have this situation, and because of some bad tweets and maybe, a negative attitude here or there, that's how you handle the situation. You love to preach that you're better than everybody, and that's how you handle the situation rather than love and forgiveness. That's all I got to say about that. Sorry. Was that too much? But it pisses me off.
Nah, the mic just dropped. Okay. Sorry.
All right. But the winner and the big surprise was Mikey Madison for Honora, not Demi Moore for The Substance.
Huge
it was a big
surprise.
Thoughts?
I don't think it was a big surprise. Once the tide started to shift, I think I even texted all of us. I was just like, oh damn, there goes Best Picture. It's coming, it's going to go straight down the line going forward. Yeah, it was I would say it was 60-40 Demi, but it's fine. Like she is the movie. Mikey Madison is the movie. Without her, that movie does not work at all. So well deserved.
I did love her speech too, though. She seemed incredibly humble, and I love that she read off of her paper. I don't know. I feel like that shows she's a very genuine person. She showed a lot of respect towards the characters that she was portraying and that were, in this film that they did this work on. And it's still really great no matter what, too, because independent films are winning at the Oscars.
That part's great. Yeah. And honestly, these are mostly independent films except for Wicked. So that's an awesome achievement. And I mean, obviously you could see Demi Moore was disappointed, and why I always feel like it's not fair to expect people to not be disappointed. I mean, this is, especially for her, she's had a long career, and this is, I think, her first Oscar nomination. And I feel like she rightfully thought this was an easy win, so to speak. Not easy win, but, this was going to be the culmination of many, many months of Oscar awards circuits. It just didn't work all the way. And I think as much as I wanted Demi Moore to win, and I think she was very deserving, I've been touting her ever since that movie came out. I have no problem with Mikey Madison winning because she is that movie. And, Troy, there's no exaggeration there that Honora, you take Mikey Madison out of the movie, there is no movie. She's the magic. She's everything that holds it together. She's what keeps it interesting. She feels very real. And also she has the advantage to being in the entire movie. Demi Moore is gone for large swaths of time in the substance. You could honestly make a case that she can be best supporting actress, honestly, because she is gone for large swaths of time. Mikey Madison's in almost every scene, so she's all over the place.
Yeah, the way I think about it, she's literally in the photos for like oh my gosh, I can't even think about them, the name for it. But essentially the publicity photos, yeah. Yes, the stills of her and this male actor. And when the award happened, I was like, what is this dude going on stage for? Forgetting that it's not just her movie. Yeah.
Exactly. But you know what? I'm happy for her. I agree with you. She had a great speech. She seems like a very humble person. I hope that's true because we need more humble people, especially in this industry, because the next one I don't find very humble. All right. Any other thoughts on Mikey Madison before we move on?
All good. Okay.
Actor in a leading role. Don't worry, we've only got 2 left. Actor in a leading role. Nominees were Adrien Brody for The Brutalist, Timothée Chalamet for Complete Unknown. I cannot do that justice. I apologize. Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. And the winner is Adrien Brody, the brutalist, who spit his gum at his girlfriend, Georgina Chapman, ex-wife of Harvey Weinstein. It's a weird connection. Hollywood. Got up there and did a speech for 5 minutes and 40 seconds. The record holder now for the longest Oscar speech in history. And Troy, you found another little fact.
Yeah, he has now got 2 of the longest speeches in the top 10 of all Oscar time when he did his speech for The Pianist, based on number of words used in the speech. So yep. Adrien Brody has the 2 longest speeches.
And also, if you recall, last time he forced
jumped over people and stepped on people.
Well, and forced Halle Berry to kiss him.
Yes,
without her permission. So there's I got a lot of thoughts about it.
You can't just throw that out there without also mentioning that she just did the same thing to him.
She did that as
this year.
Turnabout, but on the same token, it's been, decade and a half or whatever it's been.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
And she has come to grips with it. But at the time, she was not a fan of that.
No, I bet. Okay. I understand. I was going to say, I bet his girlfriend wasn't a big fan of not only him getting kissed by Halle Berry, because first of all, it's Halle Berry. Yeah. And then second of all, having your man throw his gum at you for you to fucking grab. Excuse me?
It's just weird.
why are you like this? And then
because
to be
it's
so
your category.
cocky.
Your category's up. It's not like you weren't. Oh my gosh, they caught me off guard. I didn't
Get
know that they were going to
prepared.
go for 5 minutes explaining who the nominees were. I didn't know that was coming. Sorry.
And to be so cocky in your speech, to be like, I've done this before. Hang tight, I'll be done soon.
It's not my
who
first
are
rodeo.
you?
Not my first rodeo.
Not my first rodeo. It made me lose a lot of respect for him.
A lot of respect.
Why did it bother
so
you guys?
arrogant.
I know I don't want to force my feelings on you. So why did it bother you guys?
But the gum thing is one thing. Like I don't want to be up on stage giving my speech with gum in my mouth. I understand that, but like, you could have taken it out as you heard your name called and handed it off. You didn't have to chuck it because you forgot. But you're also excited in the moment. I remember Aaron and I won an award for a particular thing,
Fair.
and my entire speech was written on my phone, which I gave to somebody else to record us winning the speech. And then I was like, oh shit, we don't have our phone. So I could understand Adrien Brody's plight when he's like standing up like, oh my gosh, I actually won, even though he pretty much knew he was going to win. So, I mean, that part was weird, but not that bad as kissing Halle Berry or jumping over people. But yeah, it's like, don't play off, guys. I got this, And then he doesn't even say anything for like the next minute and a half that's actually worthwhile. So then they started playing him off again. I'm like, just keep playing, play louder, do it. Such a nonsense speech too. Like there was nothing in there.
Don't hate. Got it.
Yep. That about summarizes it up in
Okay. So
5 minutes and 37 seconds less.
So here's what I think. Number one, his performance was good. I've said this before. I don't think it's much different from anything else he's done. This guy loves to smolder. He wants to be De Niro so bad it hurts. Everything he does, he just wants to be Harvey Keitel or Robert De Niro. Every time he looks at a camera and he tries to smolder into the camera and sternly focus his eyebrows and look very serious, like I'm an actor. That's what I get whenever I am not a fan of Adrien. If you haven't caught on, I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Adrien Brody. I think he's overwrought. I think he's exaggerated. I find, though the film overall, it's a good film. It's rather boring and very, very long. And I know you're not supposed to say that, but I will. I find him to be, as a personality, self-obsessed. I think he feels very self-important. He is pompous when I've seen him speak. Arrogant. I find him very arrogant. And that's before the speech. I've thought that for many, many years, since the last speech. And then he gets up there and does exactly what an arrogant person would do, which is, we've been playing people off, artists that do the work that make you look good, jackass. We've been playing them off all night long. But your message is so much more important than any of theirs. So we're just going to let you go because you've been here before. Oh, yeah, you know what this is like because you're a 2-time Academy Award winner now, which in his mind, I firmly believe he believes that makes him better, even more so than I think. I feel like he already acted like he thought he was to begin with. I feel like he's the kind of guy who is just pissed that he's not accepted the way he thinks he deserves to be accepted. This is how I feel when I see him. And then he goes on there and he's like, no, this is my first rodeo. I got this. And just keeps going and just keeps going and keeps going. And it says nothing of value, in my opinion, because it goes on and on and on. Now, if you go read the speech or you pick out snippets, yeah, there's going to be some good there. And there is some good there where he says, you gain some perspective from the last time because his career bottomed out and, now here he is again. I get that. I appreciate that. There's other ways to do it. As long as I've been talking now, still isn't even close to how long he talked up on that stage, ignoring the fact that many, many artists before him were treated like shit. And he didn't care about that because what he was saying was so important. And he didn't care that it delays everyone else's night and everything. I just, not a fan. Not a fan. Proved everything
he happened
I thought.
early on in the night, right?
What's that?
What time in the night did he happen?
No, he was next to last, or he was before Best Actress. He was near the end of the night.
So I might have been able to see Best Actress if he would have been shorter.
Yeah, you probably could have, Amanda. You definitely probably could have. So it's really Adrien Brody's fault, not Hulu.
Yeah.
Are we good with
He's
that?
the one that delayed us. It's his fault.
just, hey, I'm happy for anybody who wins, but I actually picked Timothée Chalamet for that one simply because I didn't want, even though I knew Adrien Brody was going to win, I just didn't want him to. So I just picked the one I wanted to win. It's terrible. Just terrible. I don't like to fuel people like that. And that's just an opinion. I don't know the guy. Could be a wonderful guy. Just doesn't seem like it. All right.
Doesn't seem like it at all.
Well, good. So you gathered that from his speech, though, right? Not because of my...
I just gathered it from his acting.
Okay.
He just looks like a grumpy, arrogant ass.
Always with the eyebrows, man. Like, you want to know how you become Robert De Niro? Just be that good. That's how. Not by looking badass into a camera. Jesus Christ. Steven Seagal tried it. Didn't work for him either. All right, so Best Picture. The nominees are Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, and The Substance, and Wicked. And if you thought it was anything but Honora, you weren't paying attention.
Well, it wasn't Honora at the start of the show.
No, but by the end, it was...
I said it. I was like, fuck, there goes my ballot.
Mm-hmm. Now, the question is, should it have been? Now, I don't have a problem with Mikey Madison winning Best Actress. I think she was fantastic. I don't like this as the winner. Well, it's two minds. I'm very happy that an independent film won. That's great. That's awesome. I think that's awesome.
And I'm happy that The Brutalist didn't win.
Me too.
So if it wasn't Honora and it wasn't The Brutalist, I don't know if I would pick one out of the rest of them to be Best Picture. So in that case, Honora would be the best choice because I don't want The Brutalist to win.
You wouldn't pick Wicked, my friend?
Wicked or Substance?
Or Conclave. Conclave was...
See, Substance fails because of the ending, right?
Agreed.
Wicked fails because it's 2 hours and 40 minutes of
Why does that make it fail?
I think the ending ruins the movie a lot.
For Substance?
For me, it does.
It does.
Yeah, I literally told you guys that.
You did.
I'm talking about Wicked.
Oh, Wicked. No, Wicked should have won.
Wicked is hard because Wicked is not original.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But to the Academy voters, and we know how the Academy voters vote, there's not enough staring and brooding in Wicked. There's too much fun and happiness.
Well, that right there is part of the problem, right? What you're saying right there is part of the problem. I asked in our Facebook group, I'm like, I'm just curious, what would make you watch the award shows? And almost everybody, it's almost unanimous, have more genres. People are sick of the Oscars being that, where it's just, I hate to say it, but either the very small independent movies like Honora, which
artsy films.
Artsy, thank you. Very artistic films, or they're about war-torn, very dire topics, or somebody overcoming some horrible like they're not. The Substance is a shock that it's here. It's a horror movie. Shock. Absolute shock. I am still stunned that it's here. And I'm convinced it's only there because Demi Moore is in it. And this year was her resurgence.
Yes.
But outside of that, there are tons of great science fiction films and horror films and fantasy films and films of all other kinds of genres that never come close to getting nominated for an Oscar. And it's bullshit. It's just bullshit. If I realize that they're patting themselves on the back for a lot of this, but if you're that far out of touch for what people enjoy, maybe you should open it up to the people that pay for your salaries or something.
And honestly, A Real Pain wasn't nominated, but Real Pain should have been nominated. I thought Real Pain was really well done. Just that whole opening shot to the closing shot and the different emotion and the story that he goes through, and you find out what happens, and the whole conversation when they put the rocks on their grandma's doorstep. All of it was just really the concentration camp. All of it was really good. I would have picked A Real Pain to win if it was nominated.
Yeah, and a lot of
Brutalist and Honora.
And a lot of people, when I've had this conversation over the years, I always get told, well, it's an industry event. It's like going to your work event and watching the award. It's going to be only people from inside that should be given the awards. And I'm like, it's not the same though, because this is an entertainment venue. These are things that are consumed by us. We, the fans, the people that watch this show, that give them the budget to put on this show, that give them the money to make these movies constantly, represent that body of people more, because I do think they are missing and I'm not saying run out and make everything should be Marvel movies or anything crazy like that. I'm just saying recognize how you go about this process might not be the best way, because you're not rewarding the stuff that actually pays your salary, that keeps you going, that fans love. And I think there is a fine line between art and commerce, I guess is what I would say.
Absolutely. But hey, Brutalist did not win. I was happy.
Amanda, you're not saying a whole lot.
I mean, I've kind of voiced all my thoughts on it. Anora, I don't think should have been Best Picture. I think that Substance, like I said, Substance, or really mostly Wicked, should have been our Best Picture for the year. I agree with Troy that A Real Pain would have been good to see on that list. The other thought I had is how bizarre it was, and this is, I think, just due to the structure of having a full slate, to have Nickel Boys and I can't remember the other film's name that had, I don't think, any other nominations for anything at all.
I'm Still Here.
I'm Still Here was nominated.
Yeah, that one was
somewhere.
nominated.
She got Best Actress. Yeah, Nickel Boys, I think, was nominated one other place. But yeah, that's it. Just two nominations.
Yeah, so those were just kind of surprising to see in there.
Yeah, I'm Still Here for international.
Adapted screenplay for Nickel Boys, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it was pretty thin. But even that, I mean, when you go through Brutalist, drama, Complete Unknown, drama, Conclave, drama, Doom Part 2 is probably it's an exception. Wicked, so that they're making some room, but I also think that's why they have it to 10, so they can have those movies in there, but then they have really no chance of winning.
Right, because typically the top 5 would have been Anora, The Brutalist, The Complete Unknown, Conclave, and probably The Substance would be the 5th.
Maybe Wicked, because it was so popular this year. Sometimes they just want to throw one in there, but it never really feels like those films have a chance, and I don't think that's fair. I think it should feel a lot more even than it feels. But hey, that's another Oscar. So overall, thoughts on this year's Oscar ceremony? What do you got? We've closed it all out. I'm sorry if I vented too much. I'll shut up next year. But
no, you should vent. I mean, you're passionate about the show. You're passionate about movies. You're passionate about the hosts and how things go down, and definitely passionate about songs.
I want them back.
We should have songs.
Bring them back, right?
Definitely bring them back. If you're going to show all 10 best pictures after every commercial break, and what the F is it with the commercials? Can we shut the show down by like an hour by just getting rid of the commercials and just like having a lower third or something during?
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. It's like have Nick Offerman read the commercial as the people are coming up on the stage. That would be fun. I
love Nick Offerman. Why have we not talked about Nick Offerman?
Oh, how disrespectful. He was so great. And I knew the second I heard his voice. Shame on all of you who didn't know that beautiful, deep, bearded man's voice.
I didn't. Not
Shame
until it was
on you.
pointed out. But he had some what was it? If you're gonna hug, whether it be consensual or a la Kevin Spacey, just keep it short or something like that. It was a great line. But in his voice, it was perfect. Should note one thing I thought, we haven't really talked about, but the In Memoriam, they always forget some people. I think they forgot Michelle Trachtenberg, Shannon Doherty, Tony Todd, and then
they didn't forget Michelle Trachtenberg. They glossed over her completely.
Okay.
They forgot that she was in movies and thought she was only a TV star because, no offense, Gene Hackman got like a whole freaking thing and he died like 3 days before the ceremony. They could remember Gene, but they couldn't remember Michelle.
Okay. Oh, how do I do this carefully? All respect to Michelle Trachtenberg. You
should probably not even say this.
Gene Hackman's on a different level.
I understand Gene Hackman's on a different level. I'm saying all of those people that like won shit in the show, like were putting out tweets and Instagram posts and like, there's no reason why Michelle should have been missed. No reason.
I agree with you. And Tony, I'm a big fan of Tony
Shannon.
Todd.
And Shannon Doherty.
And Tony Todd. Can we he's been a character actor for decades, a successful one. How about not leave out Tony Todd?
And Quincy Jones gets an entire segment in a song.
I get that one though. I do. It's kind of in the Gene Hackman era of things, or element of things. Can I tell you, like, Gene Hackman is one of my all-time favorite actors, so I wasn't like destroyed because he was 95. I mean, because we're still trying to figure out what happened to him, and that's a whole different
really
stuff.
Want to understand how two adults with very different ages and a dog all end up dead.
Understood, and we'll find out those answers, I'm sure, over time. But for right now, I just want to say one of the best actors of all time. Just watched French Connection and Unforgiven this weekend, just because, Hackman, I love you, and even though French Connection doesn't hold up, over time. I mean, it's an old movie. It's from early 70s. But man, he is still fantastic in that movie, and in Unforgiven, just wonderful.
And I'm not saying that Morgan Freeman's speech about Gene, like all of that was perfect. I'm saying as the producers of the show, you put that in the show and had time to think about that. You could have thought about Michelle. That's all I'm saying.
Really feels like, well, we got this locked, like a few weeks ago. But
then
they always find a way. Bill
it.
Paxton died the day of the thing, and they got his face in there. So you could do it. Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah.
Get it right, Oscars. Okay, last thing.
She worked for like 30 years.
She did. Yeah, she
in the industry. Like she should have been. She should have been in the list.
Mm-hmm. On a quick side note, Aaron, would it make you really, really upset to tell you that the thing I most remember Gene Hackman from is Heartbreakers?
Yeah. What?
That was my introduction to Gene Hackman.
Oh okay, so it
was funny, and it stuck with me. I love his pervy, weird character in that movie.
Shit.
That's the memory I have of him. Meanwhile, you have Unforgiven and French Connection.
This is so disappointing on so many levels. I mean,
I know. I'm not saying that's the only thing I know him from, but I'm saying that's the thing that first comes to mind for me.
I love his performance in that movie because it's so not Gene Hackman. I mean,
it's wild.
It's very funny. Actually, it's very funny.
Please note, though, that after coming out of that film, I anticipated that to always be Gene Hackman. And it was never that ever again. Oh. And I was like, wow, this man really did his best.
That's funny. Well, you just saw Mississippi Burning because we did that for Inspired by a True Story. We did Mississippi Burning. Mm-hmm. So you just saw that one not too long ago.
Yep.
I think my first Gene Hackman was Hoosiers.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one.
And I always love him in The Firm. He's so great in The Firm.
Now I gotta go rewatch Firm. I haven't seen that one probably in 20 years.
That's a great movie.
It is a good movie. Yeah, it is very good. He's an all around great. Even when he was making, because there's a period of time where I think he went through a divorce or whatever, and he's just taking jobs. He did Loose Cannons with Dan Aykroyd, which is a terrible movie, but he was still always watchable in them. Like he's just that good an actor. He knew how to be instantly relatable, which is a very difficult task for a lot of actors. I hate to say it, Kevin Spacey had it too, and he just, unfortunately, his career went the way it went. But Gene Hackman is an astounding actor. What a way to end it. All right, well, anything on what you want to see for the Oscars next year other than original songs? Anything?
No, but I'm really curious. We're very close to 100. Does Billy Crystal live long enough to come back and do 100 as the host?
Not as the host. I don't think he's got the energy.
Sure he does. For the 100th, he'd muster it for the 100th.
He did the best picture and he looked winded. No, I don't think he could do a whole show. I think he'd be tired. I don't think I'd retire. He had a great run as the Oscar host. He had a fantastic run. And he put his heart and soul into it. But no, I honestly think it's Conan's turn for a while. I think he could do this for a few years.
I love Conan.
It's good.
I'm down for it.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it. We are done with this Academy Awards episode. So next year it'll be 98th annual. So yeah, we're not too far from 100, I guess. And we'll see which movies they unceremoniously dump into the pit of despair next year. So with that, we'll say thank you guys for listening. And don't forget, if you want to support us on Patreon, go to patreon.com/TheHollywoodOutsider, and you will get to hear episode 600 early and uncut, which is the best part of that, because then you'll hear a whole bunch of stuff I don't remember. And we are going to be off next week. Amanda and I are going to be at South by Southwest.
Woo!
Yep. So there will be no episode, maybe a compilation episode. We'll see what happens, but that is going to be that. But the 600 episode will be released on Patreon next week. And there's a lot of other Patreon exclusive content out there as well. Again, it's patreon.com/TheHollywoodOutsider. That's it for this podcast. Remember, the next time you head to a theater or stream comfortably on your couch, buy popcorn.
Shout out to listener Reese Bennett. I got your message.
And now we're going to cinema streams.